Hey everyone, it's Bree. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back in another video, and I am here to talk about this whole situation that happened with Kai Cenat and this giveaway that he did in New York City. So for those of you who may not be aware, Kai Cenat, or is it Cenat? I heard a lot of people say Cenat. I thought it was Cenat. My apologies if I am pronouncing his name incorrectly. I've always said Cenat, but maybe it's Cenat. I don't know anymore. But anyway, Kai Cenat is a really famous streamer. I want to say, is the biggest streamer in the world currently. Even with him being the biggest streamer in the world, a lot of people don't know who he is. And I feel like that's the case with a lot of influencers or people who do content creation. There are people on these platforms that have really massive followings, but to the general public, they may not be well known, like more so among mainstream media. A lot of, I'll say, the older generations who don't consume a lot of YouTube or Twitch content, they have no idea who these people are. I mean, even someone like Kai Cenat, right? Kai Cenat is one of the biggest YouTubers. A lot of people don't know who he is. And so with that being said though, Kai does have a very large following and a large audience, and that audience does consist of more of the younger generation. And so Kai decided that he wanted to host a giveaway in person in New York. And this giveaway consisted of someone said PCs, but I couldn't find anything on that. But apparently he was giving away PCs. I did see that he was giving away $100 gift cards, but the biggest thing that he was giving away was PlayStation 5s. Already you can see the red flags here, right? I think the intent was good, and I think that, you know, Kai had good intentions, but the way in which he went about this was just so wrong. For one, hosting a giveaway like this in person is just not a good idea for safety reasons on both Kai's end and his supporters. With him not having the proper security and the proper, you know, organization with this type of events, it could cause him to be at risk as well as his supporters. Because the one thing I kept thinking about is he didn't even get the opportunity to give anything away because everything was so chaotic. And so I thought to myself, what would have happened in the event that he did give away these PlayStations? The people who won the PlayStations, it was going to be really hard for them to get home safely. And so I just can't imagine giving away a PlayStation in broad daylight and that going well, right? But also I think that there might have been a better way to go about this in broad daylight, but I think that overall he probably should have did something like this virtually. But I understand, like, you know, where he was getting at. You know, he wanted to get back to his hometown, and I get all of that, but I think that there were definitely red flags from the beginning, right? But anyway, you know, things went left. The giveaways didn't even happen, and it just was chaos. I mean, people were out there destroying property and abusing people. I just seen a clip of this elderly man who I guess runs a kiosk, and they were attacking him. Like, it was actually insane, some of the clips that I've seen. Like, people were just wilding. And of course that led to police coming out there having to shut everything down, and it also led to Kai and the AMP crew getting arrested. And now Kai might be faced with some charges, and I'm hoping that he doesn't do jail time at all, which I'm going to get into with my overall thoughts. And so a lot of people have different opinions about this whole situation and who's at fault in the situation. Some people feel like Kai is completely innocent. He had nothing to, not that he had nothing to do with it, but that he is not at fault at all for how things occurred. However, there are also some people who feel like Kai is fully responsible for this and that he should be held accountable and that he should be punished to the fullest extent. And then you have some people that are kind of in the middle, where they're like, okay, Kai's not necessarily the reason why this happened, like in terms of inciting violence, right? Like, he's not the reason why people got violent. He didn't tell people to get violent. However, he should still have some responsibility in the situation and maybe have a smaller punishment. Now, here's what I think, right? I don't think Kai should get jail time at all. I don't think that this is worth going to jail, you know. And I think that it's unfortunate that in a lot of these cases people love to ignore intent behind someone's reason for doing something. I feel like a lot of the times with these situations, people tend to overlook intent and they just look at what happened. But at the end of the day, and I stand on this, and I think most people agree with this, that Kai's goal was not to incite violence. His goal was not to have people's cars be damaged and for people to get hurt. I don't think that that was his goal at all. I really think that his intent was just to literally give back and have this be more of a positive thing. And yes, you could argue that Kai knew it would be a really big crowd out there and that a lot of people were going to show up. But I, in no way, shape, or form, think that he intended on it going the way that it went. And so I think you have to bring that into account. I just wouldn't send somebody like that to jail. Somebody that was trying to do good in the community. I don't think that it's his fault that the community that he was trying to give back to was acting a fool. And to even say that he incited a riot, I think is crazy. Now, there were people that were rioting out there, which again, I don't know why. I don't know why people felt the need to go out there and do that. But I don't think, or there's no evidence of it that Kai was purposely wanting people to act this way at all. And so for him to possibly get charged with that, I think is crazy. I also think it's crazy for people to compare this to the riots that happened on January 6th. I think these are not at all the same situation. You cannot compare the two. I mean, unpopular opinion, I don't think Kai should get that much of a punishment because like I said, I don't think that he's responsible for how other people acted, especially if that's not what he was pushing for. However, I will give you that maybe he should get some type of small punishment, whether it be, a fine or community service. Honestly, I think community service is probably the best option in this scenario. If you want to take the situation and kind of make it into a positive, to see how Kai was able to have that much influence, bring out that many people, I feel like he could use that for good. And so I feel like if he were to, I don't know, try to make it up to the city in some way, he could coordinate with the city, coordinate with NYPD, and come up with some type of community service event where he brings out all these people, and maybe he could do a back to school type of thing. Maybe he could give back to the homeless, whatever it is, doing that, but being required to do that as a part of his community service, so that way he can use his influence for something more positive. I also think it's really harsh of them to ban him from the city. When I heard that one was because, and I think the reason why I think that one was a little too far is because it's his hometown, right? And I know that there is some bias in that. I acknowledge that. But I think for him to be banned from his hometown, somewhere where he grew up, and again, somewhere where he wanted to, give back to that community that he came from, I think is really unfortunate. And honestly, and I can't speak for Kai, I don't know him, none of us know him, well, most of us don't know him, but I can imagine that being banned from my hometown is worse than a fine or jail time. To say that you cannot come back to the city that you grew up in, I think that is probably the worst punishment you can get, especially when, again, you weren't intending on something like this happening. And so, but yeah, like I said, I don't think he was intending on everything that happened to happen. Maybe he was expecting a big crowd, maybe not, but just to see how everything ended up, and even seeing people jump on their car, when Kai and AMP were trying to leave and fans were jumping on their car. I don't know, I can't sit here and say that Kai expected it to get that crazy. I don't believe that. I don't believe that was his intent. I don't think he wanted anyone to get hurt at all, and I just don't really like how people are acting as if he did this on purpose. He clearly didn't. However, I 100% agree that he should have went about things in the proper way. He should have coordinated with the city. He should have coordinated with NYPD. He should have gotten the proper paperwork and permits. He should have done this as a more organized professional event, especially being out in a big city like that. He definitely should have went about it in a more organized way, and I'm sure sure he's learned his lesson. I'm sure that this will not happen again. I'm sure that moving forward, if he were to do something like this again, that he would do it the right way. Because yeah, just all across the board, it just was not good. And at the end of the day, like, this event did cause a lot of damage and a lot of disruption to just the residents of the city. And so I can understand people's anger and frustration, you know, with this big streamer, this big content creator causing all this chaos. But again, I just don't think that he intended on that happening. But yeah, overall, this could have been handled better on Kai's part. The people who showed up acted a fool. You can't really hold them accountable because it's a bunch of random teenagers. It's like, what are you gonna do, you know? And so, but you know, I also think that they were wild and crazy and shouldn't have been acting like that at all. And I don't think that how they acted is on Kai's part, because like I said, it'd be one thing if Kai was telling people to wild out, but he didn't. And so I just don't think that it's his fault that people came out there acting a fool. But yeah, overall, moving forward, I hope that if Kai decides to do something like this again, that he's able to use his influence for something more organized and something that has more of a positive impact on the community, because I think it would be really dope if he were able to turn something like this into something way more positive. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say for this topic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead and give it a big thumbs up, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel so you guys are staying up to date on everything that's happening in the news. And I will see you guys in the next video.